August 1, the 1972nd year, the Sun, surrounded by the Crown, flew in the galaxy at a normal speed of over 200 kilometers per second. Suddenly astronomers saw a flash in the Sun. "24 hours later, a solar hydrogen block of 4 billion cubic kilometers hit the ground. The thickness of the atmosphere, as always, protected mankind from deadly radiation, but magnetic storms began everywhere. Radio's broken. The weather has changed. At the beginning of May, the 1976th year, again, there was a severe outbreak in the Sun. Soon, the European part of the room is suddenly shredded and dragged. And France and England were struck by an unpredicted drought. Scientists estimate that the intensity of the outbreaks is comparable to the explosion of billions of hydrogen bombs. Could also be the cause of flares of thermonuclear reactions occurring in the Sun's subsoils. However, a group of astrophysicists at the Lebedev Physical Institute shared the opinion of the head of the Crimean Observatory of the North. Solar flares have nothing to do with a thermonuclear reaction. A lot of time scientists have been looking at these rare movie documents of sunspots. Flashes have always occurred over spots. Weird dark entities with extraordinary powerful magnetic fields were of particular interest. The number of spots changes with a period of 1 to 11 years. And you're such a frequency of gossip. Despite the great successes of optical astronomy, it has not been possible to determine the cause of sunny days. The bigger the increase, the more vague the paintings. It looks like a reflection of some invisible process of torture in the failures of the barely visible. There were huge plasma clots, so-called condensations, over the spots of the highest protuberances of the crown. They're mostly radiated. X-rays not visible from space missiles and satellites. X-rays of the solar crown revealed a completely unknown picture to the researchers. The disk of the light looked dark, and only condensations were highlighted by the bright areas and the dot. Professor Mandelstam, the head of the astrophysics group, argued that the key to solving the mystery of the PS must be explored, especially condensation, as the most active areas of the crown. These bright spots and dots on the surface didn't shine, as it seems in the picture, but high in the crown. Surprisingly, their temperature was hundreds of times higher than that of the Sun's surface. The global nature of the problem of studying solar flares required that scientists be united among many nations. The first series of scientific experiments in a single plan was launched by scientists from socialist countries, united by a broad international program called Interkosmos. The Soviet Union has provided its space technology for joint research. Year after year, the Interspace program conducted solar patrols, studied sunspots. The scientists gave it to me. Fire flares. And then one day, peaks with signals. Within a few minutes, the solar X-ray suddenly increased 300-fold. It was. Not all astrophysicists have gotten used to the paradoxical fact that the crown has a temperature of about 1,000,000 degrees. But what happened in the sun was amazing this time. Not on the glowing surfaces of the sun, where there are no more than 1,000 and 1,000 degrees. The crown, hundreds of thousands of kilometers higher. Condensation, difficult to detect in optical telescopes. "30 million. 30 million degrees in the shadows. Such heat is incredible, and in the sun's subterraneans. It's become obvious. Guns are a different source of energy. From the researchers, there was a different route of X-ray data on the structure of the flash. This structure was similar to that of optical astronomy on the surface of the sun. The same finely fibrous structure of the substance, controlled by the force lines of the magnetic field. They create chains. However, the distance from the surface of the sun to the areas of the flares is approximately the same as the distance from the Earth to the Moon. Can the magnetic field spread this far? But there were documentaries in front of scientists. The solar plasma slides along the invisible lines of the magnetic field, as if on the tracks. Experiments of our astronauts have shown that the magnetic field is spreading into the crown. If the sunspots produce powerful magnetic fields, and they're penetrating the crown,
is it not possible to assume that they are the ones who are constricting the condensation?
Astrophysics is still unknown to them. They're guessing. They're denying it. Fantasizing the limits of scientific logic, of course. Observation of cosmonauts at Salyut Station formate another hypothesis to recall the possible source of a magnetic field exploding some part of the plasma electrons, almost to something similar is happening in the Earth's magnetic field. The polar light. The time has come for the most subtle and difficult experiments. Only they could turn one of the hypotheses into a theory. Scientists had high hopes for the new supersensitive gallery. Meters and spectrometers created at the Lebedev Physical Institute of the SSR Academy of Sciences. Important phases of the outbreak included the discovery of German democratic scientists. A group of scientists from Dr. Vansha and Czechoslovakia were preparing for an experiment to clarify the spectrum torture at its initial stage in January. Jumping, astronomers have turned on the equipment complex X-ray cameras of the new design. For the first time, the interspace program was run by Swedish experts led by Dr. Stanford. A valve. The age of a unique instrument, created in conjunction with the scientists of the Crimean Observatory, was to detect the effect of the outbreak on the lower layers of the crown.
The upcoming satellite launch had special meaning for scientists.
It sort of sums up years of experiments on solar flares. The common cause that affects the interests of all mankind has brought researchers closer together. Makes me feel a lot of possibilities. There's nothing in joining forces. Nope.
Oh,
Scientific instruments. And a solar flare.
and here comes this unforgettable day.
From the Sun, the Institute's lab is 150 million miles away. But the development of a monstrous solar disaster in these equations and a graph. The magnetic fields are being re-engineered. North, south, north, south. Nope, it doesn't look like a plasma compression with a magnetic field. Absolutely. It's different. The fields accelerate the beams of electrons.
Something like the Earth.
Accelerator in the solar crown.
So multi-year research can be collected on a piece of paper.
The powerful magnetic fields accelerate the beams of electrons to a speed close to the light moved down, bombard the substance of the condensation of the heat and the explosion. The surface of the sun is also heated. There are protuberance under the area of the outbreak. A carrick at the end of this pen, warmed up to the flashpoint, would instantly melt everything around 1,000 square kilometers away. Every step in the knowledge of the solar machinery. There is a time and a reliable prediction that can protect mankind from the cosmic element. But science will go on. How to get out of time spring from which the magnetic fields of the sun exhaust their fantastic energy. Maybe the sun's power source isn't the same as the thermonuclear power source. This is a question that scientists often ask themselves.
And if it hasn't yet been discovered by anyone, there will be more deaths.